So NASCAR is in trouble, almost on its deathbed. Michael Jordan's, what he said was heartfelt. It wasn't bad. I wasn't mad at Michael Jordan. I thought everything he said was heartfelt. He's like, I love NASCAR, but y'all are taking too much.
Kenny Wallace just broke his silence on Michael Jordan, and his reaction is turning heads across NASCAR. The antitrust lawsuit has dominated headlines for weeks, but everything shifted the moment Jordan took the stand. His testimony wasn't a celebrity cameo, it was personal, pointed, and impossible to ignore. Inside the garage, emotions ran high, and one of the strongest responses came from NASCAR veteran Kenny Wallace, who felt compelled to speak out after what he heard. Day 5 of the trial brought Jordan to the witness stand, and his words resonated beyond legal arguments. Jordan testified with sincerity, recalling his lifelong love for stock car racing. To Kenny Wallace, who spent 26 years in NASCAR, every point Jordan made struck a deep chord. This wasn't ego, Wallace insisted. It was a genuine call for fairness. Jordan told the court directly, the lawsuit had nothing to do with ego or settling scores. Instead, he described it as a necessary fight for fairness for every person and every team in NASCAR who aren't being treated fairly. As Jordan explained how his involvement in NASCAR had evolved, he expressed growing concerns about the imbalance in the sport's business structure. He drew direct comparisons to the NBA's model of shared revenue and collective responsibility. To Wallace, Jordan's comments weren't just valid. They were, as he put it, genuine and spot on. Wallace pointed to a subtle but telling courtroom dynamic. NASCAR's attorneys, who had aggressively gone after Denny Hamlin and Bob Jenkins earlier in the week, approached Jordan differently. While Jordan's messages, texts, and business dealings were dissected, the tone was measured. NASCAR, Wallace noted, seemed careful not to attack one of the most respected global icons. It wouldn't have looked good on NASCAR to throw mud at the Jordan, Wallace said. He further emphasized how Jordan shared a deeply personal connection to the sport. Jordan explained to the court how he had attended races at Talladega as a kid. According to Wallace, this background shows that Jordan's commitment to NASCAR is rooted in lifelong passion, not opportunism. He filed the lawsuit because someone needed to step up, Wallace noted. Wallace drew an important contrast between Jordan and traditional team owners. He pointed out that figures like Rick Hendrick and Roger Penske built vast business empires through car dealerships and other ventures. In Wallace's eyes, Jordan is in a unique position. He is wealthy enough, independent enough, and passionate enough to challenge NASCAR in a way others simply cannot. Jordan's message was simple and powerful. Wallace summed it up. When NASCAR does good, the team should do good. He clarified that what he MJ said was heartfelt. It wasn't bad. To Wallace, nothing Jordan said came from a place of greed or self-interest. This was about the future of a sport they both love. Wallace has spent more than 2 decades in the trenches of NASCAR. He knows what it means when someone of Jordan's stature steps forward. It means something, he said, underscoring that this was not a calculated PR stunt. Jordan might not be immersed in the technical details of car setups or pit strategies, but he understands the culture, the fans, the stakes, and the risk. And that risk is real. Wallace pointed out that the sport demands that drivers strap into 3,400-pound machines and hit speeds of 180 miles per hour, with closing speeds of over 200 miles per hour. As Jordan himself stated in court, the drivers bear the highest risk, yet don't receive their fair share. That, to both Wallace and Jordan, is unacceptable. This is not just a financial squabble. Wallace emphasized that Jordan isn't looking to make a few extra dollars. With MJ already being a multi-billionaire, he said, this isn't about money. Instead, Wallace sees Jordan as using his global platform to push NASCAR toward a model that is healthier, more equitable, and sustainable. Yet even with all this, Wallace remains emotionally conflicted. The lawsuit, as he sees it, hurts my heart. On his YouTube channel, Wallace admitted he hates seeing NASCAR dragged into court. It leaves him uncomfortable and embarrassed. He longed for the days when the sport had clearer leadership, like when Bill France Jr. ruled the garage. Wallace described France as a dictator, someone drivers feared but also respected. That iron-fisted leadership brought stability. Wallace reflected, "And I love NASCAR, and it hurts my heart to see this new regime. I was ruled." He remembered the days when drivers and owners could look the boss in the eye and know exactly where they stood. Wallace painted a vivid picture of the past. France once had a beer in one hand, a cigarette in the other, and told him, "Wallace, you're in trouble, boy." That kind of blunt leadership created order. Now, Wallace says, those in charge prefer to talk behind your back, a shift he believes undermines trust throughout the sport. Wallace's frustration deepened when discussing disrespect toward NASCAR legends. He was especially upset by the way executives spoke about Richard Childress, a man who has devoted over 60 years to NASCAR as both driver and team owner. Wallace found it jarring and saw it as a symptom of the growing disconnect between NASCAR's current leadership and its roots. He sees why teams and drivers are increasingly vocal. The current structure doesn't treat them as partners, but as replaceable pieces in a larger business. Wallace acknowledged that many modern competitors want more than a paycheck. They want to say in the sport's direction. They want respect. Wallace understands their position. He gets why drivers and teams are calling for structural changes, but he still struggles with the optics. The idea of NASCAR being publicly dissected in court, with headlines and controversies spilling into national media, hurts him. But even as his heart aches for the sport, Wallace knows there's no turning back now. He called the situation a storm that's already here. And in that storm, Michael Jordan's voice is one Wallace believes should be heard loud and clear. Jordan's testimony wasn't an attack. It was a call to realign the sport with the principles it once stood for: fairness, transparency, and mutual respect. Wallace's verdict? He stands by MJ. He believes NASCAR has to listen, not just to the legal arguments, but to the emotion, the logic, and the history that fueled Jordan's words. Wallace believes Jordan's testimony and the broader lawsuit represent a turning point. The sport can either embrace reform or risk alienating the very people who built it. In the end, Wallace sees Jordan as more than an owner. He sees him as a bridge, someone capable of connecting NASCAR's storied past with a more just and sustainable future. Jordan may not know every bolt on a stock car, but he knows people, and he knows business. That, Wallace argues, is exactly what NASCAR needs right now. Whether NASCAR listens remains to be seen. But what's clear is this: Kenny Wallace has broken his silence, and he's made his position known. He's with Jordan, not because of the money or the fame, but because of the message, because of the principle. Because, as Wallace sees it, someone had to step up, and Jordan did. In Wallace's own words, what MJ said was heartfelt, it wasn't bad. Now it's up to NASCAR to decide whether it will listen or continue down a road that leaves its teams, drivers, and legacy behind.